He told me she was just a client. He told her I was his cousin. We both showed up at his best friend's birthday party at the same time. By the time the cake was served, his entire double life had unraveled in front of everyone. You ever look back at a moment and realize it was the exact second everything started to fall apart? For me, it was a jacket. A stupid, overpriced camel-colored wool coat that my then-boyfriend Jason claimed he bought during a flash sale. But let me back up. I had been with Jason for almost 3 years. We met at a mutual friend's rooftop birthday party that neither of us wanted to be at. He made some joke about the guac being aggressively under-seasoned, and I laughed so hard I snorted. It was an unglamorous beginning, but we clicked fast. He was charming, had this sarcastic sense of humor that could disarm a room, and he made me feel seen. Not in the love-bombing way, at least not at first, but in that slow, earnest way that makes you think, this guy actually gets me. Things were good in the beginning. He worked in graphic design, freelanced mostly, which meant weird hours but also spontaneous coffee dates in the middle of the day and sleepy Tuesday morning pancakes. I work in HR for a mid-sized tech firm, boring to most. But I love structure, order, knowing that I'm helping people navigate messes they don't want to deal with. Jason thrived in chaos. He had this magnetic energy that made everyone lean in closer. At parties, people would gravitate toward him like moths to a bonfire. And I was just proud to be the one standing next to him. My friends liked him. My mom adored him, called him a real charmer and told me not to screw it up. Which brings us back to the jacket. It was late October, one of those crisp days where the air smells like burning leaves and cinnamon. I came home early because I'd had a minor meltdown at work. Nothing serious. Just too many back-to-back Zoom calls and one passive-aggressive Slack message too many. I wanted comfort. I wanted Jason. I let myself into our apartment. Well, technically my apartment. He'd moved in 6 months earlier, when his lease randomly ended and we were spending most nights together anyway, and found him sitting on the couch, laptop open, half watching some movie with the sound off. Nothing unusual, until I noticed the jacket draped over the armrest. It was beautiful. Sleek, structured, looked like something off a runway in Paris. Not Jason's usual vibe. He was more thrift store core meets graphic tee chaos. I picked it up and immediately checked the tag. Acne Studios. Retail? $1,200 easy. Damn! I said, holding it up. Who'd you rob? Jason looked up, distracted. Oh, that? Got it on sale. Like, major discount. One of those weird flash sites. Something about the way he said it was off. Too casual. And Jason never shopped online without bragging about it. He once told me he snagged a pair of designer sneakers for 80% off and made me look at the email receipt. But I didn't push. Not then. I laughed, made a dumb joke and moved on. If I'd pressed harder, maybe everything would have come out then and there. But I didn't. Instead, I made soup. We watched Knives Out for the 20th time. He kissed my temple and told me I was too good for the corporate world. I melted. Again. Over the next few weeks, little things started piling up. Jason was different. Nothing big, just slightly off. More distracted. More secretive with his phone. Less affectionate, but still present enough that I gaslit myself into believing it was just stress or winter blues, or whatever excuse I could come up with to avoid asking hard questions. Then came the notification. It was a Friday night. Jason was in the shower. His phone buzzed on the coffee table. Nothing new. But this one lit up with a name I'd never seen before. L followed by a heart emoji. My stomach sank. I stared at it like it might explode. When he came out of the bathroom, I said nothing. Just smiled, handed him his phone, and pretended I hadn't seen anything. Why? Because some part of me didn't want to know, because I wasn't ready. Because if I was wrong, I'd be the jealous girlfriend. And if I was right, then everything I built with him was a lie. Spoiler. I was right. The next morning I did something I'm not proud of. Jason was still asleep, sprawled across the bed like he'd fought off demons in his dreams, and his phone was charging on the nightstand. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes, heart pounding in my throat. Then I picked it up and opened his messages. I know. Violation of privacy, invasion of trust, all that. But you don't understand. Something in my gut was screaming. And I've learned to trust that voice, even when it whispers things I don't want to hear. And there she was. Elle? Their texts weren't explicit, not in the way I expected. No nudes, no I miss your body or whatever, but they were worse. Inside jokes. Screenshots of memes. Spotify playlists. She had sent a selfie of her with coffee and bedhead and the caption, Lazy Sundays greater than. He'd replied, Oh, I'm jealous. Mine's chaos. Mine was chaos. And then, a photo of him. Wearing that same camel-colored jacket. Only this time, he was standing in front of a mirror in a very different apartment, one I'd never seen before. That's when it hit me. He was seeing her, like, regularly. Comfortable enough to be there, dressed up, posing. He'd taken the jacket from her. Or maybe she bought it for him. Either way, he lied. Again. I took screenshots. All of it. Every message, every timestamp. I sent them to myself and deleted the sent messages. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I put it back and went to make coffee like nothing happened. When he woke up, he smiled, kissed my cheek, and asked if we had any oat milk. I nodded, and hated myself for still loving him. That afternoon, Jason got an invitation to his friend Mark's birthday dinner, bougie rooftop bar, cocktails that cost more than my groceries, the usual. He casually mentioned that I wasn't invited. Just a guy's thing, he said. I wanted to scream. But instead, I smiled and said, no problem. Because I had a better idea. I didn't confront Jason right away. Instead, I played it cool. Real cool. The kind of calm that comes right before a hurricane. I let him leave for that guy's night with Mark. Gave him a kiss goodbye, and even joked, don't get too drunk without me. He laughed, winked, and said, you know I'm always on my best behavior. Sure. While he was out, I went into full FBI mode. I'd already saved the L screenshots, but I wanted more. A timeline. A full picture. I went through our joint calendar, texts, notes, receipts, all the moments he claimed he was working late or grabbing drinks with a client. I matched them to her texts. Sometimes he was double texting us at the same time. Then I made one crucial decision. I reached out to Elle. I made a burner Instagram. No face, no real info, just a DM. Hey, Elle, I don't think you know me, but I think we should talk about Jason. No response for hours. Then, who are you? I told her I was someone who'd been dating Jason for nearly 3 years. I attached a photo of me and him from a friend's wedding. Nothing dramatic. Just smiling, clearly a couple. She didn't respond right away. Then finally, you're lying. I sent her the screenshots. Our texts. A selfie from our couch the night before. A photo of the damn jacket on my couch with the timestamp. And that's when the dam broke. Elle replied with one sentence. Oh my god, he told me you were his cousin. I had to sit down. Apparently, Jason told Elle that I was his cousin who he was staying with temporarily while he looked for a new place. She had only been seeing him for a few months, but still. She thought they were exclusive. They weren't. He'd been dating both of us. Lying to both of us. Creating 2 separate identities. I was furious. Elle was devastated. We talked for 2 hours. Swapped notes. Compared timelines. At one point, I asked, where did you two meet? And she said, he was doing freelance graphics for a campaign I was running. That was new. Campaign? I asked. Elle replied, yeah, I'm a junior campaign manager. We were working on a local rep's re-election materials. Jason helped with digital assets. Suddenly a horrible realization clicked into place. Elle wasn't just a fling. She was the client Jason had been complaining about for months, needy, over-involved, micromanaging. Turns out he was sleeping with her the entire time and trash-talking her to me. The disrespect wasn't even subtle anymore. It was engineered. I told Elle everything. And then I told her I had a plan, a quiet little confrontation that I was going to carry out at Mark's birthday party. And if she wanted in, she said. Say when. The night of Mark's birthday party. I dressed carefully. Not revenge hot, not dramatic. Just sharp. Classic black dress, red lipstick, hair pinned the way Jason always said made me look too severe. Good. I wanted to look severe. I wanted to look like Karma in heels. Elle met me 2 blocks from the venue. In person, she was even more intimidating. Tall, confident, gorgeous in that effortless blazer and jeans kind of way. We exchanged an awkward half-hug, trauma bonding isn't exactly glamorous, and reviewed the plan one more time. It was simple. Walk in together. Say nothing. Just exist. Let the silence do the talking. The rooftop was already buzzing when we arrived. Strings of fairy lights, a pop-up bar, loud music, guys in rolled-up sleeves trying too hard. Jason stood near the fire pit, beer in hand, animatedly telling a story to a group of people who didn't seem all that interested. He didn't see us at first, but Mark did. Mark's eyes went wide like he'd seen a ghost. Jason turned to see what Mark was staring at, and there it was. That moment. The one I'll remember forever. Jason's face went slack. His jaw dropped slightly, like he was trying to form a sentence but forgot how English worked. His beard tilted just enough to slosh onto his shoes. His eyes ping-ponged between me and Elle. Then he took one step forward and croaked out, "What is this?" I smiled. Elle folded her arms. Nobody answered. Jason laughed. A weird, high-pitched laugh. Okay, I see what this is. You're trying to what? Ruin my night? Elle tilted her head. No, just wanted to meet your cousin. The group behind him gasped. Someone, I think Mark's girlfriend, let out a low, "Oh." Jason looked like he wanted to melt into the concrete. Okay, that was... He started, then turned to me. This is really immature, you know that? You ambushed me. On my friend's birthday? I raised an eyebrow. Oh, we're talking about disrespecting Mark's birthday now. Jason looked around like someone might come rescue him. No one did. Mark, bless his chaos-loving soul, called out, "Dude, are both of them your girlfriends?" Jason didn't respond. Mark shook his head. Bro, Jason stammered. It's not, this isn't, there's context. Elle cut him off. You told me you were living with your cousin. You told her I was some client who wouldn't stop flirting. The crowd went completely silent. Jason threw his hands up. You're both overreacting. Mark's girlfriend muttered. No one's reacting enough, honestly. Jason took a deep breath. The fake calm kind. You know what? I don't need this. I've been under a lot of stress. You think it's easy juggling freelance work, expectations, people constantly nitpicking every move I make? I blinked. Are you describing dating two women at the same time and lying to both? He scoffed. You're twisting things. No, Elle said. We're untwisting them. And then the cake arrived. Because of course it did. It was some massive triple-layer monstrosity with sparklers and gold-dusted frosting and "Happy Birthday" marks scrawled across the top. Jason, trying to save face, jumped up to help slice it, knife in hand like some twisted metaphor. I leaned over to Elle. I give it 10 seconds before he makes a scene. Elle didn't even wait that long. She looked Jason dead in the eye and said, You left your toothbrush at my place. Want it back? Jason dropped the knife. Mark clapped. After Elle's toothbrush comment, everything spiraled. Jason bent down to pick up the knife. But someone, Mark's cousin maybe, had already swooped in, whispering something about liability and cake trauma. Jason stood there awkwardly, hands twitching, surrounded by people doing their best not to laugh out loud. He tried to give Elle a look, the kind that says, "Can we talk in private?" She just blinked. Oh no, I think we're past the private stage, don't you? I chimed in. You lied to her. You lied to me. You lied to literally everyone here. Jason turned to Mark. You're just gonna let them hijack your party? Mark didn't miss a beat. Bro, you brought both your girlfriends. To my birthday. This party belongs to the gods now. Jason's expression soured. I thought he might lash out. Say something cruel. Deflect. Instead, he did something infinitely worse. He looked at me, really looked, and said, I only lied because I didn't want to hurt you. I actually laughed. Loud, probably too loud. You dumpster fire of a Hallmark villain, I said. You didn't lie to protect me. You lied to protect yourself. He flinched. Elle added, and you weren't even good at it. Jason took one last look around. The rooftop crowd was watching like it was live theater. A few even had their phones out. I half expected someone to yell, World star? Then, like the walking red flag he truly was, Jason muttered something about needing a drink, and stormed off. Just left his own best friend's party. No goodbye, no apology. Just a sad camel-colored coat vanishing into the elevator. Mark's girlfriend handed me a piece of cake and said, That was iconic. Elle toasted me with a plastic cup of champagne. We stayed for another hour, mostly because it felt like we'd earned that view. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was weirdly light, like I'd been carrying a boulder on my chest and someone finally rolled it off. Elle and I exchanged numbers. Mark hugged us both and said, You two should crash all my parties. Then, around midnight, it happened. Back at my apartment, feet sore, adrenaline wearing off, I checked my phone. Jason had started his apology tour. 7 missed calls. 3 voicemails. 1 email with the subject line, I made a mistake. The messages were a predictable cycle. First angry, then sad, then nostalgic. You were the only one who understood me. I got scared. I still love you. He even sent an old photo of us on a Ferris wheel captioned, Remember this night? We were so happy. I didn't reply. I archived it. Moved his name to a folder in my phone called People I Survived. I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. So, the next morning, still basking in the warm glow of poetic justice and leftover cake, I woke up to a new notification. Instagram DM from @K8_WBU. The profile pic looked familiar. Girl in a leather jacket, cat-eye eyeliner sharp enough to wound a man. It took me a second, then I remembered Kate, Mark's little sister. The one who was quiet most of the party but had that look, you know the one. The I'm collecting receipts for later look? Her message? Hey, I know we don't really know each other, but would you be okay if I posted that video? I blinked. Video? She sent it. A 30-second clip. Shaky, phone recorded, but clear enough. It caught the exact moment Jason realized he was standing in front of both his girlfriends, The stammer. Els just wanted to meet your cousin. My stone-cold silence. The camera pans to Mark mid-bite, whispering, Bro, you're so ked. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. Then I texted back. Honestly, go for it. She waited a beat before replying. Don't worry, I'll blur faces and change names. Just want the energy of it out there. And oh, did she deliver? That afternoon, Kate posted a TikTok titled, When Two Girlfriends Show Up to the Same Party. And he invited them both #karma, #storytime, #cousin my ass. Blurred faces, distorted audio. But the body language, the tension, the chaos, all crystal clear. It went viral. Like VIRL viral. People were invested. Theories in the comments. Fan art, someone made a fake trailer for the Netflix adaptation. My favorite comment. Justice served medium rare on a rooftop with cake. 10 tenths. Jason, meanwhile, was melting down. He posted one of those half-assed Notes app apologies to his private Instagram. The kind that starts with "to anyone I may have hurt" and ends with vague references to mental health and owning my growth. But he didn't stop there. He started tagging me in weird nostalgic posts. A Polaroid from our first vacation, a video of my laugh, even a blurry photo of our old bookshelf with the caption, Some things you don't know you'll miss until they're gone. I wasn't tagged directly, just at Yano while you were. Classy. He also tried reaching out to Elle. Multiple times. She finally posted a story with a screenshot of his messages and a caption that read, Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, not today Satan. Icon. The final straw came 1 week later. I was having dinner with Vanessa, yes. The same best friend who told me to never trust a man who calls both his exes crazy when my phone buzzed. Jason had made a post, a public one. Black and white photo. Him, sitting alone on a park bench. Caption? I lost the only person who truly knew me. Maybe I never deserved her. Maybe she see this and remember. Barf. The comment section? Unhinged. Some people, mostly dudes, were like, Stay strong, king. Others? Where's the cousin? And, Elle, if you're reading this, blink twice. Vanessa made me put my phone away before I could spiral, but later that night, I DM'd Jason 2 words. Stop posting. That's it. No threats, no drama. Just a firm, clear boundary. He didn't respond. But he deleted the post within an hour. You'd think that after publicly exposing a double life, walking out with my dignity intact and going TikTok viral, even anonymously, I'd feel unstoppable. But, honestly, I just felt tired. Like soul tired. Grief has a funny way of creeping in, even when you're the one who ended it. Especially when you realize you weren't grieving him. You were grieving the version of him you thought was real. The version I imagined every time he held my hand during thunderstorms, or made pancakes at 2 a.m. or texted, Let me know you got home safe. Turns out he was the thunderstorm. I took some time. I rearranged the apartment. Replaced our shared mugs with ones I actually liked. Bought new sheets that didn't remind me of movie nights and crumbs and arguments over nothing. I also started therapy. Shout out to my coworker Tasha for the rec, and 1 session in, I was already sobbing over how many red flags I'd painted white with the glitter of potential. I stopped checking his socials. I stopped waiting for another message. I stopped narrating the what-ifs. Instead, I started living. One Sunday, I walked to a farmer's market alone. Bought sunflowers and a loaf of overpriced bread. Sat on a bench and just... People watched. No anxiety, no checking my phone. No wondering if he was lying about where he was. Just me, breathing. And then, about a month later, something strange happened. I got a text. Not from Jason. From Elle. Hey, this might be weird, but I just wanted to thank you. For reaching out, for telling me. I've been thinking about everything and I realized I almost let someone convince me to shrink myself. I feel like I got out of a cult. Anyway, if you ever want to grab a drink and laugh at our mutual trauma, my treat. I stared at the message for a full minute before I burst into tears. Happy tears. Because for the first time in months I didn't feel alone in it. We'd both been duped, lied to, disrespected. But we came out of it better. Smarter. Stronger. Louder. And we were never going to let someone make us feel small again. I texted back. Drinks sound amazing. I know a rooftop bar with decent cake. We met the following Friday. Talked for 3 hours straight. She's hilarious, by the way. Sharp as hell. We toasted to escape disasters, updated our red flag checklists, and swore to never ignore our guts again. And Jason? Last I heard, he moved back in with his parents to reset. His freelance gigs dried up after he tried to spin the viral video as taken out of context. According to Mark, who still sends me the occasional meme, Jason's latest job involves cold calling for a startup he can't pronounce. Good luck with that. As for me, I don't need revenge. I got closure. And better sheets, and sunflowers. and a girl in a blazer who became the unexpected proof that even in the wreckage of a trash fire relationship, you can still find something real. Maybe even friendship. Definitely peace. And that's the best ending I could have asked for.